Guys, there are 10 million players that play FPL. And right now, I'm honestly shaking. It's unreal. I'm actually ranked in the top 30,000. That's not the top 1%. That's the top 0.3% of the entire world. Yo, this is madness, boys. Like, I'm getting tears in my eyes. Like, it's unreal. Like, we got to break this down, baby. Game week 9 came down to two main factors. What is your squad structure? Did you go for Salah in your team? And then the next question is, who did you captain? Because I feel like for those of you that don't have Salah in your squad, you've been honestly annihilated the past couple weeks. Like, Salah has been so consistent over the course of the entire season. But the past 2 weeks, oh man, he turned from this very strong, balanced goal and assist threat to this monster. Like, this guy that he's always been. I knew he had this potential to be this way. That's why I wanted to go early to bring him in, because I was like, man, that Brighton fixture could be scary. Everton at home, I know it's going to be a very, it's going to be a very defensive performance from Sean Dyche, but, Liverpool can do anything at home. So I was like, I got to back Mo Salah. So I'm really glad that I got him in my squad. Unfortunately, I wasn't part of the 12% of FPL managers that did captain him. But I also wasn't part of the 10% of managers that captain Heung-min Son. And I also wasn't part of the 60% of managers that captain Erling Haaland. I actually captained Kieran Trippier. If you believe it or not, it's unreal. Son went out there and he scored 14 points and he outscored Haaland. Salah went out there, he got 16 points and he outscored Haaland. And Trippier also went out there and he got 10 points and he outscored Haaland. I really just want to say a quick thank you to Kieran Trippier. His returns over this FPL season have been unreal. 12 points, 18 points, 8 points, 10 points. He's just been so consistent week in and week out. He's the talisman of Newcastle. If you don't watch Newcastle play, you should. And you'll understand why I think Trippier is probably going to end the season and have the most points from any defender in the entire FPL game. I think he'll probably end up outscoring Trent Alexander-Arnold as well. Like, that's my favorite player in the league. But to be completely honest, like, Newcastle are completely reliant on Trippier, but Liverpool are not reliant on Trent Alexander-Arnold anymore because there's so much creativity in the squad. So it's one of those things where Trippier is just so talismanic at his price point. I think he's essential. But for those of you that think otherwise, like, go ahead, and if you're wildcarding, I'd say, listen, you got to figure out a way to have Trippier in your team. Whenever he has tough fixtures, look to rotate him in and out, because I think over the course of the season, you're going to wish that you had Trippier. And I feel like, especially at his price, so just try to find a way to bring him in. And if you don't, it is what it is. If you're trying to go against him, then good luck. Because if you're trying to cover him up with Shar and Bauman, you tripping, bro. But I just wanted to say thank you. Listen, like, my YouTube channel has been doing pretty well. Like, I grew from 40 subscribers to 75 subscribers now. And I just want to say thanks for all, like, the support. And even on Twitter, listen, I've never really had likes like this before. Usually I'm used to like 2 or 3 likes, but this week I felt really strong in my convictions and going for a differential captain, and it really paid off. I don't care that Salah outscored him. I don't care that Son outscored him. I care that I outscored Haaland. Like, that was my main threat. And so I feel like I won the week, and I'm so happy about that. So to have 21 likes on my tweet of my team and 36 likes on like my captaincy decision, like, it's crazy. Like, I'm just not used to this. So yeah, like, just want to say thank you so much for all your support. But if I provide some value to you throughout the point of this video, please just drop a like, comment, and subscribe. It really means the world to me. It encourages me to continue to like pump out content for you guys, But the thing is, listen, it's been 2 weeks off the wild card, and, like, Haaland's been out there and he scored 10 points in 2 weeks. And I sold Haaland and I brought in Mo Salah, who got 31 points in 2 weeks. So, Salah outscored him for captaincy in game week 8. Trippier outscored him for captaincy in game week 9. I'm up 2-0. I'm him. But this is the moment where I feel like I can get overconfident and make a rash decision. And so because of that, I really just want to explain this. Like, I don't want to say this in my own words. I think I'd rather have one of the best NBA players in the world explain it in his thoughts.
Still waiting for a big smile out of you. You're up 2-0. What's the story? Are you not happy, or you're only half happy, or?
Still to be happy about.
You're up 2-0.
Job's not finished. Job finished? I don't think so.
Okay.
Kobe's right. The job's not finished. When I sold Erling Haaland, I was like, listen, I'm going to do this for 8 weeks. We're only 2 of those weeks through. So I got to just stay humble and just keep doing what I've been doing. I don't want to get any of this, like, I don't want to let my rank get to my head. I've never really ever been in the top 30,000 ever. Like ever since I was playing. Like I can't believe I started posting content in the year that I'm having one of my best ever seasons. But it's not just this season. Like over the past 2 or 3, I finished around the top 100k mark, like just finishing inside or just outside the top 100k. And I felt like I haven't really been getting much luck. And I kept thinking to myself, like, when there's a season where I get my luck, I'm gonna do so well. And this season does feel like that time where it's like, Haaland went out there and he's like not doing that great, and I brought in Mo and he's killing it. Like it's one of those things where things are kind of falling my way, and I'm just really happy. And so let me just walk you through my team one player at a time. Let's start with the goalkeeper, Matt Turner. Bro, you're playing Luton at home, my bro. Honestly, 1 point. Where are the saves? You couldn't even put up 3 saves. Like, bro, Nottingham Forest defense has been so solid that he doesn't even get enough shots to face. But he still conceded 2 goals to Luton. What? And like, imagine this guy is going to be playing against Liverpool next weekend at Anfield. Like, that's unreal. Salah is going to be probably like the best captain, if not the second best captain this week. But yeah, Matt Turner, like, man, I'm just so tired of playing you. But the fact you're 4.0, I'm just going to have to keep you in my squad because, you know what, he's a starting goalie. I really just don't care about goalkeeper points. Like, they're just so random. It's hard to predict them. If I didn't go for this very cheap goalkeeper combination, I would have gone for Alisson Becker, but I just thought it wasn't worth the value. Like, I've always just noticed that at the end of every season, I always tell myself, like, man, why didn't I just stick with a 4.5 keeper? So that's just what I'm going to try to do this season, is just spend as little as possible on a keeper. But yeah, so thanks for your 1 pointer, you goof. Moving on to Matty Cash. Listen, Matty Cash, he's probably the best value defender in the game right now. His expected statistics are very, very strong. And honestly, I didn't expect a clean sheet playing against West Ham. But even that goal from Bowen, I honestly didn't think it was going in. Like, bro, that shot, I literally watched the replay like 3 or 4 times. Like, it looks like it's going off target. I think it goes off of like Konza or Pau Torres, goes off of one of them, and then it goes in, and they still gave the Bowen goal. Like, I know Bowen should still get some FPL points. Like, he should have just gotten an assist. I didn't think it was a goal. Now, I didn't look into what Opta said about all these different things, but just trusting what my eyes told me, I didn't think that was a Bowen goal. But anyways, regardless, it would have been a goal for West Ham anyways. So Matty Cash loses the clean sheet and doesn't give an attacking return. But I just think over the next 3 or 4, if you don't have Matty Cash, like, you're tripping. Like, he's very cheap. You need to bring him in. Like, he's really good, and he's going to smash it over the next couple, no doubt. Moving on to my Liverpool guys. Like, I went for the Liverpool triple up on my wild card, and I'm going to be one of those few people out there that has Trent Alexander-Arnold. Like, Trent is my favorite player. I'm so glad that he finally returned, and he honestly was playing really well. In that game against Brighton, it wasn't really a good game for Trent because, it's a very back and forth type of game and he's unable to stamp his authority. But in this game, he was playing so great. He put a lot of crosses into the box and he had a chance for an assist, but no one just got on the end of his crosses in. So especially when there was a man down, I was feasting. I'm like, yo, Trent is going to smash this. Diaz is going to smash this if he stays on. But it just didn't come to fruition. Like, they didn't end up getting a double-digit haul, but listen, I'll take 6 points. Just like, if they can give me 6 points consistently, I would take that. But moving on to my captain, Trips. 10 points, double to 20. Very solid. I love him. He's just way too good in FPL. Then I got my triple Spurs mids. Kulusevski was my 2-week punt on wildcard. When I wildcarded, I knew I was only going to have him for 2 weeks because I was going to either move him on to Saka or to Mitoma, and he blanked twice. But at least his blanks aren't 2-pointers. They're 3-pointers because they've been keeping the clean sheet. And honestly, Kulu gets in these great positions, but he just doesn't pull the trigger. Like, he doesn't shoot. Like, he was, like, played through, I think, by, like, Madison or Pedro Porro, but he didn't even look to shoot. He was looking to pass before he even received the ball, and it was like a breakaway. Unreal, bro. Like, even if I didn't have a plan to sell Kulusevski, I would still sell him this week because I'm, like, fed up of watching this guy play. But Madison and Son, oh, man. They're like the heart and soul of Spurs. And Madison, like, just talking about him, it just gives me a heavy heart. Like, he is genuinely a contender for player of the season. Like, he went out there and changed Spurs culture. It wasn't just him. Postecoglou has a lot to do with it, but man, these guys are unreal. And that duo between Madison and Son, it's like they're both XG overperformers. Like, that is a dream duo. Can you imagine if Kane was still at this club? Man, they're already sitting at the top of the table. Like, it's man, that's just crazy just thinking about that. But anyway, listen, I don't have the bonus points added in. Son would have 3 more. I think Madison would have 2 more. So listen, Son and Madison have been taking over consistently. Again, they played so great. They created so many chances. This team is playing so well. Like, they're top of the table for a reason. The only time that they got lucky was in that Liverpool game where they won it, because they really didn't deserve it. Like, VAR gave them that game. Like, VAR ruled that goal out, that for Liverpool, they should have scored that goal. And on top of that, they got a last-minute own goal from Joel Matip. But apart from that, Spurs deserve where they are. They deserve to be top of the table. So well done to them. Moving on to my strikers, we've got Julian Alvarez and Ollie Watkins. I think Alvarez is probably the best value striker in the game. I mean, he's matching Haaland, and he's like, what, 7.0? And then we've got Ollie Watkins, who's unbelievable. We'll get into statistics later on, but if you don't have him, with Luton coming up, you've got to have him. Like the fixture's just unreal coming, so I just think I'm really glad that I have him in my squad, and even though he's like 8.0 and he's like a mid-tier premium player, but I think he's worth it. He's just that good, and if you don't have him, you gotta have him. I'm ending the week on 97 points, but the bonus points are missing from this picture, so if you added up one player at a time, it wouldn't add to 97, but that's what it'll be when the bonus points are added in. So that's my rank going from 80k to 30k this week. It's unreal, and I feel like sometimes you just gotta reflect on the certain things that have kind of worked for you or worked against you. So I sold Haaland, and he went out there and got 10 points in 2 weeks. Salah went out there, he got 15 points twice. I also sold Saka, and he scored 5 points in 2 weeks. And on top of that, one of the biggest decisions was like, hey, do I go for Diaby in midfield and keep Haaland? Or do I just sell Haaland and go to Watkins? And after watching Aston Villa the last 2 games, I am so thankful I went to Watkins. Like, Watkins is a much better like FPL pick than Diaby. Like, I feel like Diaby is just like, he's just more likely to get subbed. He's more so on the periphery, and I feel like Watkins, everything just goes through him. Like, he is talismanic. Like, just as talismanic as Trippier is, I feel like it's just as talismanic as Watkins is, but it's in a completely different sense. But if you watch ball, you'll know what I'm saying, because it's one of those things where like Aston Villa can't really function without Watkins up there. And same with Newcastle, the team just isn't the same without him in the squad. So over these fixtures, I think he's going to be very, very important. And honestly, he could be a captaincy shout next week. And moving on, the Liverpool differentials, they've just come through. Like, they finally did this week, and I'm expecting them to continue to come through over the next couple easy fixtures. I'm really thankful for how the FPL season has gone so far, and there's just certain things that I want to review that I've seen in Gameweek 9 that are going to be good pieces of insight to just think about going forward. Number one, we got to talk about Liverpool. 6 wins, 2 draws, and 1 VAR loss. Like, so annoying. But realistically, Liverpool have been very, very consistent. And you know what's the cause of this? Mohamed Salah, man. 14 games in a row with either a goal or an assist. If you don't have him in your FPL team, you are tripping. He's the king of FPL for a reason. There's a reason why before Haaland came to the Prem, we used to captain Salah week in and week out. Don't forget. And I think the key thing to think about is if you don't want to bring Mo Salah into your squad, you have to get Liverpool coverage because the fixtures are so good. And so the question is, do you go for a Darwin Núñez or a Luis Diaz? And I think to me, it's definitely Luis Diaz. Diaz has started 8 out of the 9 games, and he's definitely Klopp's #1 choice on the left. And to me, up top, I feel like there's just going to be so much rotation. Jota can play there. Gakpo returned to training. I'm expecting him to start some games up top. And I think Darwin can play there as well. So those 3 rotating in that striker position, where I feel like on the left wing, it's mainly Luis Diaz, and Jota will play that position in Europa League games. So I feel like it's pretty obvious to just be going with either Luis Diaz or Mo Salah, and I think you just avoid Darwin Núñez. However, Darwin Núñez, his attacking statistics are unreal. Like, his XGI per 90 is on par or even better than Haaland this season. Like, he's a big chance hogger. When he plays, like, he's creating the chances or he's scoring them. He's just so talismanic in a way. It's unreal when I'm watching them. I'm like, wow, I feel like he's just been growing in front of my own eyes. Like, I was a big Darwin doubter last season. I was like, man, I was so tired of this guy just wasting all these chances that we were putting on a plate for him. But this season, it's different. There's just something about him. Like, even in that game against Newcastle, that was the turning point for me. I'm like, wow, like maybe he turned a new leaf where he got subbed on. Liverpool are down a man and he scores 2 goals and wins us the game. We really didn't deserve that win, but he dragged us there. That was the first time I'm like, wow, like maybe he could be him. And you know what? I started to fall in love with him in that moment. And you know what? I was like, wow, got to put some respect on Darwin's name now. One thing to think about is that Darwin Núñez has 8 assists in the Premier League, and all of them are for Mo Salah. In fact, he has more assists to Mo Salah than Sadio Mane has ever had to Mo Salah. And this is Darwin's 2nd season with Mo. Imagine what this would look like in Darwin's prime. What a great partnership that's looming. And I think with Salah aging, All he has to do is just stay in the Prem and trust that players like Darwin Núñez and Luis Diaz will help keep him at the top level, because Salah doesn't have to do all the running for the squad. And I think this will help Mo Salah in his career as he ages and starts to lose his like physicality as one of his biggest strengths. But regardless, I just want to say that Darwin has been growing, and it's just been amazing to watch. And I think right now he's not a nailed starter, but as time goes on, he actually may grow into this role. Moving on, I just think Villa Park is a fortress. Aston Villa at home are unbelievable. They have won 11 games in a row at home. And next week, they're playing Luton. Like, I genuinely am thinking about captaining Watkins. Like, it's unreal. His consistency is insane. He has more FPL points than Erling Haaland. Just take that in. In fact, Watkins is the first player in Europe's top 5 leagues to have 5 goals and 5 assists. Unai Emery has genuinely created a monster. And you got to think about it. He put up 11 points and they played against West Ham, and that was supposed to be one of their tough games. Imagine it was like one of their easy games. In fact, this is a tweet by Bakar where he's saying that since Unai Emery was appointed Villa manager, if we just look at the goal contributions, we've got Haaland at 37, Salah at 36, and Watkins at 33, ahead of Bukayo Saka. So it just shows you like Watkins is on a different level, like especially relative to other strikers. I think the only other striker that I would put in his bracket, including expected minutes, including the quality of the player, is Ivan Toney, but he's suspended and he's out. But apart from that, I don't think any other striker gives you what Watkins does, because of the fact that, you know, he's playing every game, involved in so many chances. Obviously, the Newcastle strikers are great, but they're not nailed to start every match, and that's the problem with them. So either way, I just really want to say that Aston Villa are insane, and if you haven't watched them, you should. They're a great team to watch. They're honestly going to smash Luton next week. I have no doubt in my mind. There's 3 more things that I feel like I learned this week. One thing I really just want to keep in mind is that Chelsea are very underrated. Their results are kind of not really showing how well that they've been playing. They've won every single game they've played on XG. And I know that doesn't mean too much, you know, people that are part of the analytics community, that'll mean something to you. But for those of you grass managers, it's like, wow, like you're creating the chances, but you're not finishing them. Well, you're just like a poor team with poor finishers. Yeah, you're right. But as soon as things click, things can turn around very quickly. And I don't think I want to be very negative on Chelsea. I want to just be like lukewarm on them. That's kind of what I thought when the season started. And I think right now my thoughts are the same. I just think they're going to be underrated and undervalued. And they could be, you know, very solid FPL picks just based on their prices. But right now their fixtures are terrible, and I don't think I want to go there. But players like somebody like Cole Palmer, you know, who is potentially on penalties, very cheap, could be a very good value pick. On top of that, I think I'll be interested to see what Nkunku does when he comes back. So I just think there are a lot of FPL picks, even Reece James, even Ben Chilwell. But you know what, with those guys, minutes are a problem, so I'll likely just avoid. But I think Chelsea defense is very solid. Even though they did concede 2 goals to Arsenal, they pretty much dominated that game. Like, I'm surprised that it was a draw. Like, Chelsea had that game in their hands. Sanchez made a big mistake, gave Declan Rice a goal, and got Arsenal back into the game. But I really just think, you know, Chelsea could have won that game on another day. So it's one of those things where we just got to keep an eye on how they do, and they could bounce back. Next, I just want to talk about Manchester United. Like, you guys played Sheffield, probably the worst team in all of Europe's top 5 leagues, and I'm not even exaggerating. They're absolutely garbage. You only scored 2 goals. You didn't even keep a clean sheet. Like, I'm done with United. Like, I'm genuinely done with watching them. Like, they're annoying to watch. They're not even playing that great. Bruno got an assist because, you know, it's Bruno Fernandes. Like, he is like the star of this team. Like, you know, like last season, everyone was telling me like, hey, Rashford is like the man in form. And in fact, I thought Rashford was the best player in the world at a certain point last year. I triple captained this man. He was unreal. But now look at him. He's like a shell of himself. It's just unreal. Like, I just can't believe the amount of inconsistency that he's had over his career. He just can't maintain a good level for multiple seasons. He has a good season and then a bad season. It's like, bro, are you a superstar player, or are you just like a solid player that's inconsistent? Like Rashford, I just cannot deal with you. I think you need to step up and become a better version of yourself. I mean, look at these attacking statistics. Diego Jota is getting more goals and assists than you over the past 2 to 3 years. Like, that's unforgivable. I expect much more from you. You're the face of Manchester United, bro. It's unreal. Step up. But that's the thing with Rashford. I have so much love for him. Like, as harsh on being, it's more just like out of love, because I expect so much more out of him. And that's the thing, like, he has this crazy level that he can be at. I've seen it so many times, but the consistency just drives me mad. Like, he has Ballon d'Or ability. He just inconsistent. I even started my season with Bruno Fernandes and Rashford in my team, but selling them both is probably the reason that I got green arrows. And that sounds mad, but it's the truth. And lastly, we've got to talk about Brentford. I think Mbeumo is just such a good pick. Priced at like 6.7 now. He'll probably drop to a couple like 6.5 maybe. The analytics community are going to be the only people that keep Brian Mbeumo, or those people that wildcarded early and they don't have the transfers to get rid of him. His fixtures coming up are not that great. But after that, they swing really well. Luton, Brighton, Sheffield, a blank, a potential double. But then you got to keep in mind that Mbeumo does have AFCON. So he's going to be gone from game week 21 to game week 24. But if the double with Man City is in game week 20 and he's available for that, we should try to make sure that he's in our squads before then. I just got to give some respect to Thomas Frank. The way that he set up the squad, the tactics that they have, they're still playing well and picking up wins in the games that they should. And I just think you got to give respect to the manager for situations like that. Losing your best player and you're still picking up wins, like, mad respect. And lastly, we've got to talk about captaincy. This is going to be one of the most difficult decisions. Like half the game is just going to captain Haaland because that's just how most people are. They think he's the best player in the league. Now, I think United are playing awful. So I don't even hate that captaincy. I think he's definitely going to return in that game. The only question to me is, who is the best captaincy option? And I think I'm going to go into an in-depth analysis later on in my next video, like towards the end of the week. But for right now, I just want to establish that I have added Ollie Watkins to my captaincy matrix. He has the most FPL points for a striker, and I think he deserves to be on this list. The three people that I am deciding my captaincy between are Saka, who has Sheffield at home, Salah, who has Nottingham Forest at home, and Watkins, who has Luton at home. Now, when it comes to reputation and the big name player, most people are just going to consider Saka and Salah. And I think my instinct sort of leads me towards Saka because he has the better fixture. I think Sheffield are the worst team in the league alongside Luton. They're just as poor. I think Nottingham Forest are solid. They're like a pretty solid, they're like a solid team. They'll stay in the Prem for sure. I think Luton are terrible. So I think, to me, I should be captaining Saka and Watkins, but Salah is just, he's the king. It's really hard to go against him. I went against him last week and, I'm regretting it. So I'm really still undecided where I'm going. Right now, I currently have the captaincy armband on Ollie Watkins, just because he's been so consistent. And I just think, listen, I don't really care what happens. If Salah goes and picks up 20 points, if Saka goes out there and picks up 20 points, if Haaland goes out there and he scores 10 and Watkins gets 12, that's all I care about. Genuinely, I'm just concerned about just beating Erling Haaland. I could care less if I could make a decision right or wrong in the process. I'm just going to trust my gut. It hasn't led me astray so far this season, so why would I do it now? So I'm just going to follow what my gut is telling me. My gut is telling me Ollie Watkins, but I do want to jump into the statistics. I haven't done a deep dive in terms of the matchups, like the zonal matchups of where the weaknesses for the teams and who I think is going to be scoring the most goals, looking at the betting markets and deciding that. So I still have a lot to decide, but my instinct right now is currently on Ollie Watkins. And it sounds mad because I think a lot of people have a structure where they don't even have Watkins, They have an Alvarez Haaland structure. And I'm out here just trying to captain Ollie Watkins, just like last week when I was out here trying to captain Kieran Trippier. It's unreal, just the way that my mind is. I'm not looking to be differential for the sake of being differential. I think Watkins has the ability to get a hat-trick in this game, and I don't think Salah has that ability this game. Saka could, but the problem with Saka is they have so many games to play. They have to play in the League Cup still. They have to play in the Champions League, and they don't have a good record in that game. And I think if Saka's coming off this injury, he didn't play versus Man City. He was rested over international break. Arteta should rest him. What he should do is he should play Saka for 60 minutes. Arsenal will probably be up 2 or 3-0, and you hope Saka has at least one return over that time, and he subs Saka off. That's what a good manager would do. What Arteta will do will be he'll run him into the ground. He'll likely just play him 90 minutes. But I just don't think I should be relying on Arteta being a dummy. So I just got to trust my gut. My gut tells me Watkins higher expected minutes, and I think the upside for that Luton and Sheffield fixture is the highest. So my gut tells me go Ollie Watkins and captain him, but I haven't decided. This is just where my mind is right now. We are only 25% of the way through the season. There's so many FPL points up for grabs. There's no need to give up at all. I'm sitting at the top 30,000. I could finish in the top 1 million. That's just how FPL works. And honestly, I feel like the main thing I want to put across is that if I'm providing some value to you, please just drop a subscribe. It means the world to me. My goal is to get to 100 subscribers when the season ends. So if you're thinking to yourself man, this guy's pretty insightful. Well, listen, all I ask is if you could drop a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see y'all again soon. Peace.